Another week, another round of predictions. With 4 days of NA matches again, let's just hop right into it with our first match of the week, the London Spitfire versus the Florida Mayhem. London is trying desperately to make it to the mid-season madness tournament after losing out on a point by 2 maps. Can a meta change to a strong Ryan Baptiste meta help them out? I think it will, but not enough to overtake the Mayhem. I think despite their relatively early exit, the Mayhem proved a force to be reckoned with in the kickoff clash. I don't think they'd have an issue transitioning to a supposed Ryan meta either. Someone is insanely flexible, and they've pulled out the Ryan comp and looked good on it, even against Dallas. I know Bap being busted helps Landon a lot, but Sermajet is likely better on the Baptiste in my opinion, and frankly with enough practice, I don't think London are a top tier team even on the Ryan, but I do think they have an advantage. I'm going to give it to Florida, as I also favor them in a double flex support meta and their DPS lineup, so I'll say they take it 3-1, with London maybe taking a map on the Rhine. Also worth noting is that this should be a double push week, so the new rush meta could theoretically be favored over the dive comp. Next up, Shock versus Fuel. These guys played in the tournament and Fuel slammed the Shock, but can the Shock pull this one off? It'll be tough. Now I am on some major Shock copium, and I really want to give it to them. I really do. Double Flex Sigma is meta, and that is pretty much their best comp. Doomfist Dive is still in there, and I personally think they looked quite good on that when they pulled it out. They have their newfangled player in Mikey. Will that be enough? I'm kind of stumped here. Frankly, out of the 3 theorized comps, I only really favor Dallas at the Ryan Brawl comp. They haven't impressed me much on the Doom or Winston, and I think it is Zen Brig meta. Finn Violet could beat them out. Fuck it. The safe bet is Fuel 3-2 because of the double push, but I'm going to say Shock 3-1. I can see it now. Fuel have a slow start as Hanman cannot play as much, and Fearless comes in on the Rhine, and Shock take them off guard with a highly polished dive and double flex poke comp. I'm on cloud 9 with this Hopium, and I don't care who knows it. Next up is the New York Excelsior versus the Washington Justice. New York are trying to take advantage of a seemingly double flex support meta, while the Justice are trying to bounce back after some rough weekends. I still fully trust Washington here. See, the thing about double flex is that yes, it does benefit NYXL a lot, but the double flex tends to go with Sigma. See, the thing about double flex is that yes, it does benefit NYXL a lot, but the double flex tends to do with Sigma, who Kellon has not shown to be that great at. I think it's the main reason they never ran the Sigma comp on Circuit Royale, really, choosing to go with his Kellon Zarya. It's kind of unfortunate, but their comps are so limited. Washington 3-0 here. Next up, London versus Toronto. Very interesting game. Honestly, no clue what will happen here. I want to say Toronto just because I favor them with the dive comp and double flex comp, but really, who knows, man. This match is just so good for London. I want to give it to London 3-2 here due to the double push. I know it's counteractive to my point for Shock, but I feel like London are much more practiced on the Ryan comp, and you can force it in any situation to beat out Toronto, whereas Toronto's Sigma and dive comps have looked shaky, and I'm not a fan of Toronto's Ryan comp at all. Next up is Boston Uprising against the Reign. I think this is actually a very good patch for the Reign. Sigma, Doom, and Ryan are all tanks the Reign was strong on, and OG is quite a good map as well. These guys look scary, and Boston has not convinced me outside of the Doom comps, which I feel Reign are stronger on anyway. Pair that with It's All Ryan, and Reign coming off a strong tournament run, and I give it to the Reign 3-0. Next up, Glads versus Titans. Glads 3-0. Next up, Washington versus Houston. Now this is an interesting one. Again, assuming Ryan, Sigma, and Doom are meta, I do favor Houston on the Sigma and Doom metas, but there are some caveats. I actually think Washington can bounce back. They seem to have a strong Doomfist in the kickoff clash, though I don't really think it's as good as Houston's. But I think I'll go Houston here in a 3-1, but I could see Washington taking it just as easily. Both teams are just hard to watch, man. I can't deal with this. Next, the Gladiators versus the Eternal. Glads are once again looking strong in every meta out there, while the one meta pairs began to look decent on has been phased out. Incredibly unfortunate for them, but the Glads take it 3-0. Excited to see Dove's debut though, he's nasty. Next up is another exciting match, and that is the Atlanta Reign taking on the Dallas Fuel. Last time they met was in the kickoff clash, and it was a 3-1 victory for the Fuel. Can the Reign clap back? I would say no, unless Reign can force the dive. They're outclassed in the Sigma comp, though I think Ultraviolet and OG are actually a better double flex duo than Fielder and Chio. OG's BAP is really strong, but the real difference maker here is the Rain comp. Despite Fearless coming off to a shaky start, he still is a world-class Winston and Ryan, and looks much better at it than Gator, who got diffed by Hottie. But Atlanta are a very strong team with nothing but good things going for them, and I'll say they take Fuel to 5, but fall 3-2. Next up, Florida Mayhem versus the Toronto Defiant. I really think this will be a clean sweep. There's nothing I favor Toronto over Florida on except maybe the Sigma. But even then, I think as long as someone can keep up with Kalios, they should be able to win out, as they have a great double flex and DPS line for it, especially with XE now in Florida. I expect Florida to continue their upwards trajectory and beat the Defiant in a clean sweep. Next up is the San Francisco Shock taking on the Boston Uprising. Again, I think this meta suits Shock so well, and while Boston do have a good roster for the double flex, I don't foresee them being anything other than a middling team. Shock take it in a sweep. Mikey is even better than It's All in the Rhine. Next up is Paris versus the Excelsior. Again, meta does not favor Paris right now, and should be the best one NYXL has seen so far. I have the Excelsior 3-1. Maybe Paris take a map, but especially with the last minute roster shake-up, I can't see Paris doing very well. Finally, Houston versus Titans. Should be an easy 3-0 for Houston, but I'll give Titans a map due to the new coach and because Houston suck. So, 3-1 Houston. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe for more. I upload nearly daily Overwatch League content, and I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs by the end of Season 5, so any subscription helps greatly. Thanks.